I suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder, which is an anxiety disorder in which people have unwanted thoughts or repeated feelings, ideas, or behaviors. In other words, my life is a systematic pattern. But yesterday, I experienced a flaw in my own system. I woke up that morning in my lakeside home promptly at 6:45, as I do every morning. Before I leave my bedroom, I make sure to touch the doorknob 3 times. I have to. I need to. On the way downstairs, I make sure not to step on the second to last step. I never touch that step. I just can't. I made my usual breakfast of toast, scrambled eggs, and black coffee. I never eat anything else in the morning, just always those 3. Turning my iPad on, I make sure to check out the local news headlines, like usual. But today, something was missing. I couldn't place my finger on it. Did I forget something? The strange feeling lingers with me all the way to my car. On my way out the front door, I made certain to lock my door, then unlock it, then lock it again. Driving to work, I couldn't help but feel a part of me was missing. What did I miss? How could I have possibly missed it? I hoped that feeling would surpass while I was at work that day, but it didn't. It stayed with me for 12 whole hours. I left the office around 6:45 to head back home. About 25 minutes into my commute, I stopped for a red traffic light at the intersection of Mareberry and Westway. But as the light turned from red to green, I couldn't help but feel a strange sensation again. The only other person near me was the man driving behind me. He blared his horn at me to get going, but instead of accelerating, I just unrolled my window and motioned him to go around me. He did. I dreadfully just sat there in my car, still stopped at the intersection. Something was seriously wrong. What am I missing here? I made sure to touch everything in my car, hoping that it would spark my memory. I touched the dashboard, the leather seats, the emergency brake, even the roof. It did nothing for me. My hands began to tremble as I drove away. This isn't right. I don't like this. Driving home, I pulled my '74 Mustang into the garage. I washed the car every weekday, never on weekends. I only washed the front of the car and the back, never the sides. No matter how dirty they get, I never wash the sides. I simply just can't. But something else seemed to be missing from my daily routine as I washed. No, not again. First it was the news, then it was the intersection. Now this? Finishing up with the car, I jogged out to the backyard. Only jog, never walk, never run. Opening the tool shed, I felt yet another thing missing from my pattern. This isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right! I stumbled out the shed and gazed out at the lake. It always seemed to calm me when my anxiety got out of control. But tonight, all I wanted to do was sleep. I needed to finish this day. The next morning, I awoke at 6:45. I touched the doorknob 3 times, made sure not to step on the second to last step on my way to the kitchen. I prepared my toast, scrambled eggs, and black coffee. I turned on the iPad, browsed the local news, and it's still missing. I became aggravated. What is it that I could possibly be missing? I began to feel nauseous. Hurrying out the door in a vicious anger, I quickly locked the door, unlocked it, and then locked it again. And I drove off to work. I tend to get a lot of work done when I'm upset, strangely. So, I at least felt some accomplishment when I left the office at 6:45. I drove fast on my way home. Very fast. What am I missing? I approached the red light on Mareberry and Westway. Come on, think! A man was walking in the middle of the intersection, on his way to the other side. Why can't I just remember? The man's head spun as he noticed my Mustang coming straight at him at 85 miles per hour. I noticed him too. A wave of horror washed over my face as I watched him dive to one side. I swerved into the same direction. A loud clunk could be made as I crushed the man underneath my vehicle. Oh God! Jumping out of my car, I hesitated on what to do. He laid there, writhing in agony, making horrendous, guttural wails. I popped open the trunk to my Mustang, lifted the screaming man and heaved him in, and I drove. Upon entering my garage, I made sure to wash the blood off the front and the rear of the car. The sides were not necessary. After dragging his broken body out to the backyard, I jogged to the shed. Inside were black trash bags, cinder blocks, and a hacksaw. After dismembering the man, I was able to fit both the remains and the cinder block into a bag. Dropping him into the lake was all that was left to do. The following morning, I made sure to wake up at 6:45 and touch my doorknob 3 times before skipping the second to last step on my way to the kitchen. While eating my toast, scrambled eggs, and black coffee, I browsed the local news on my iPad. The top headline, "Hit and Run Serial Killer Strikes Again." I smiled. Back to normal.